In this video, we will take a look at how to calculate perimeter and area of circles and hexagons. When working with circles, there are some terms that one needs to familiarize oneself with in order to work with them. So let's take a look. Circumference. Well, this is a more appropriate or technical term for perimeter. So when you're measuring the distance around a circle, you will be finding its circumference. And that is more commonly used rather than using the word perimeter. You also need to have the diameter involved. In other words, the distance from one point on the circle all the way across to the other point on the circle. And then radius, which is half of the diameter. So there's something interesting about circles, and that is that the ratio of the circumference to the diameter, in other words, when you're comparing the circumference to the diameter, it's always equal to the same number. And in this case, that number is pi. You've probably come across pi before, and most commonly know it as 3.14. Some people have more than 2 decimal places memorized, but 3.14 is a very common known measured value for pi. Okay, so let's take a look at how to calculate circumference. So circumference, and we know that the distance around the circle, or in other words perimeter, but most commonly used as circumference, is calculated as 2 pi r, 2 times pi times radius, or, because we know radius is half of the diameter, pi d. We'll also be looking at how to calculate area of a circle. So that is a common formula, which is A equals pi r squared. There's a little more technical one as well, which is pi d squared over 4, but we're going to use probably pi r squared. And lastly, remember the formula for diameter. Diameter is twice the radius, or if you were to rearrange that, which we'll be doing more algebra in the course in a bit, radius is equal to the diameter divided by 2. So now we're going to take a look at calculating the radius, the circumference, and area of this following circle. Okay, radius is equal to diameter divided by 2. The diameter in this case is 3 feet divided by 2, right? This is your diameter. And so that's 1.5 feet. Easy enough. Next, circumference is equal to, we can pick either formula, 2 pi r or pi d, since we have both pieces of information. So I'll go with pi d. So that's pi times 3 feet, and I'm going to use my pi button on my calculator. It's okay if you use 3.14 as well. Just pay attention to the instructions on your assessments to see what you should be using. So this one in my calculator works out to 9.42 rounded to 2 decimal places. I'm just choosing to do that. And feet is my answer. It's just a distance around, so that'll just be a straightforward feet answer. And area is equal to, I'm going to go with pi r squared. Could have done pi d squared over 4, but this one is more commonly used or commonly known. So pi times 1.5 feet squared. Be careful of your units. It's area. So that squared applies to the 1.5 and the feet. So putting that into my calculator, I'm doing pi times 1.5 squared, and rounded to 2 decimal places gives me an answer of 0.07 feet squared. Next, we'll look at hexagons. Well, a hexagon is a 6-sided polygon, a 6-sided closed shape, in which each interior angle is 120 degrees and all sides are the same length. So here's a perimeter formula for a hexagon. 6 sides, perimeter equals 6 sides of the A value. Okay. The area formula is something very specific, 2.598 times A squared. So let's calculate the perimeter and area of a hexagon when A is 12 centimeters. Perimeter equals 6A. In this case, A is 12 centimeters. This works out to a nice whole number of 72 centimeters. And using the area formula, 2.598 a squared. So remember, just like the example above, everything inside the bracket is going to get squared. The 12 is going to get squared, and so is the centimeter, which is why you have squared units always for area. And this one, I'll just display all the answers. Oh, there was a 4, 374.112 centimeters squared.